Peace, peace, peace. I hope everyone can hear me. Is your humble guest, current resident, and the master's student, Crip Jesus, the blue guy. Better known, I feel I'm better known as Crip Jesus, of course, but I would rather known Kingl. You dig what I'm saying? I didn't choose this, it just came to me. Now, as we always do, we have to do the first to show up, go up. Oh, we got a lot of people here today. They're excited about this. Shara King Black, salute to the king. Yes, we here for you know we're here for. Just in case they didn't know, we're here for Malcolm X, the Black God. Woo! You can't stutter on that. That's heat. That's real heat right there. That's real heat right there. Hold on. I keep saying heat because y'all know what I want to do when I say that. I want to drop a bomb. Now, just to give respect to more of those through the door, we have, as always, my brother Chris King. Peace and love to the guys, of course. We have Sean P, the Aborigine. Peace. We got Robert Johnson. Okay, we got a lot of fellas and the students up in here. Let's see if we can get. Oh, we got Ray, we got Super. We got so many. But look, the point is, though, we got this. And I am so ready to get started. You know what I mean? Because if you really think about it, y'all hear me talking about the 5% Nation, the guys and herbs. Y'all hear me talking about the NOI, Nation of Islam. Y'all hear me talk about the Moorish Science Temple. Y'all hear me talk about something called the Black Illuminati. That's kind of what I sum it up with, right? Or that's kind of what I'm a part of, right? But did y'all know, how many of y'all know that the Black Illuminati actually kind of begins with Malcolm X? You gotta wiggle, you gotta move, you gotta finesse, you gotta tap in. That part. Gold chains, heads wrapped like a Saudi. Tap in with the lokes. We the Black Illuminati. We be posted at Lamert Park, hustling, catching bodies. A dripping OT. Thirsty peaches flew to Saudi. Money schemes, my niggas had dreams of riding Bugattis. Now it's 4-finger rings supreme with kings around me. Watch me turn the metaphysical to physical. It's not just lyrical, it's literal. These guns get rid of you, the spiritual. Spit out, let drip off a nigga lip, but get up in you and rip you up like 100 hollow tips. Bismillah, Iraq, Rahim. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, Elijah Muhammadeen. Had a dream last night on some other shit. Farrakhan and Malcolm X pulled up in the mothership. Talking about UFOs, black kings and queens that was rich as fuck, swimming in pools of gold. But niggas like you don't wanna hear that though. You were descended of one of them snitches or dudes that told the white man about all the fucking Jews and gold. And that's how everybody in the crew got sold. Fucking blabber mouth, I don't like his type. Pull that ratchet out, we tapping in. All these bitch niggas doing is tapping out, tapping out, tapping out, tapping out, tapping out, tapping out. Gold chains, heads wrapped like a Saudi. Tap in with the lokes, with the Black Illuminati. So you see that one? Yeah.
Oh, we back at it.
That's that we are back at it. In the hood entertainment, you feel me?
Night, man.
That part.
You never know what's gonna bring.
See, I ain't know if it. Yes, y'all. And y'all know, and if y'all didn't know, y'all about to know, there's no way that we can even, in the month of May, how many of y'all know when Malcolm's born day is before we even start this episode? How many of y'all know when Malcolm born day? I'm giving y'all 30 seconds to tell me. Get up in them comments. Here goes the problem. That we can quote everything except this. Okay, we have a couple pieces of divine family. That's why I love y'all. Because we may not got a million answers, but we got the right answers. Okay. Woo.
May 19th from I Am. Peace. Oh, your granny's B-Day. That's peace. That's peace. That's a special way to remember it. Okay. We got Ray, May 19th. And then we got the first person to get it right. Bruce Lee Wine. Yes. Somebody went as far as to put the year. Okay. Oh, we playing no games up in here. All right. So the Divine Family is tapped in, tuned in, and they understand what's going on, and y'all understand the assignment and the mission. I'm loving that part. So here's what y'all don't know, or y'all do know this, but we don't talk about it much. Malcolm X gets like, they're trying to bury him, bro. They're trying to make a whole future world with the Google and everything where Malcolm X, he's there, but he's barely there. And this is why they're shutting down everything he stood for, the supremacy and all that. They're shutting down. They talk about toxic masculinity now. They're shutting down everything he stood for. And they're trying to slowly but surely push him to the side. Did you notice we don't even have a Malcolm X Day, but we have a Martin Luther King Day? And the first one to not only bring this to my attention, but to tell me it's my job, my duty to not only get involved, but to stand with my hand high under Black supremacy. None other than the brother, Paul Metto himself. Peace to the king.
Peace. If you hear my voice and you're part of the revolution, this is Paul Metto Star, the righteous revolutionary, but you can call me Prophet. Black supremacy, what's good? Crip, Jesus, Kingl. Much pleasure
Peace.
Being here. I am honored to be on the platform. Peace to the brother Crumb, and peace to you. I love what y'all doing, man.
Oh, thank you very much, man. Peace to you, though, man. I see what y'all doing out there. Can you make sure?
Can you hear me?
I know y'all can hear you loud and clear. I hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can hear you loud and clear.
Can you let the people know where they can reach you at?
I'm on Instagram at Win the Revolution. I'm also on Twitter at Palmetto_star. Instagram is Win the Revolution. And Twitter is Palmetto_star. That's PALMETTOSTAR, but an underscore, Palmetto_star.
Yeah. And you were telling me, not only as your t-shirt says, you know what I'm saying, tap in for them shirts, Black supremacy, but a lot of this y'all that you push is based on not only the teachings of Malcolm X, but you saying y'all going as far as trying to get a Malcolm X Day started. This was the claim Malcolm X Day.
Yes. And we have been doing it for 8 years, actually, Kingl. This is our 8th year doing it. It started out with activists in 2015. If you remember 2015, this is when you had the incident in St. Louis, Michael Brown. You had all that stuff was happening. In the midst of that, you had a lot of activists across the country getting together on Twitter and stuff like that. So there were a lot of activists that came up with claim Malcolm X Day. The premises were not asking permission to claim Malcolm X Day.
Yes.
You know, so it was hashtag CMXD. It went wildfire all across the country and globe. They were doing it in Nigeria. It's big in different parts of the country, and it's super huge in Philadelphia right now to this day. Like May 19th, they're having Mark Lamont Hill speak at their Claim Malcolm X Day celebration. So, you know, it's big all across the country. We've been doing it. I've been the main person out here in Atlanta, and we've been doing it solid for 8 years. Even when police try to disrupt it, like seriously, like that's how big
the police.
That's how, yes, our second Claim Malcolm X Day, we picked a Black restaurant to do our ceremony at for Claim Malcolm X Day. There was some pink person that was supposedly the owner of the whole place where the strip mall where the restaurant was at. He saw somebody stepping on an American flag. He got upset, called DeKalb County Police out here in Georgia. They came about 30 deep. Oh man, it was crazy because people were recording and everything. So, but we actually took that. We just walked down the street and took over a whole park, the DJ and everything.
Yeah. Okay.
We just took over the whole park and they loved it, man. The people that even you know you're responsible for paying at the park, they came up there and they loved it. So it was it was, you know, dramatic that you see what they don't want you to know. They don't want you to even know about Malcolm X's born day. So it's important not only to know that, but to start traditions. Take over these days. There should be no day that we don't define ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Because what makes you a free person is you define your reality as you see it and as you see fit.
Mm-hmm.
How we
100%.
having a whole calendar 365 days and we don't have acknowledgement of Malcolm X one of those days? We're doing it on his birthday. We're not asking permission. We're not asking the government to say, "Oh, well, can you make a Malcolm X Day?" We're not doing none of that. We're claiming Malcolm X Day, and we've been doing it since 2015. This is going to be our best ceremony yet. So if you're in the surrounding, if you're in Georgia or any surrounding place, Alabama, there's people coming from Florida, there's people coming from as far as Philadelphia to come out. So if you are in the surrounding area, you need to be at Claim Malcolm X Day, and that's going to be at 640 Evans Street, which is the Unity Coffee. You know, right across the street from the Krispy Kreme in Weston. Everybody knows about the Krispy Kreme, so just go right across the street. We're going to be out there. It's going to be major, and I look forward to seeing everybody out there. But yeah, that's as far as how we started with Claim Malcolm X Day. That's how we started. And I've always, every year, it seems it's a ritual. I pour everything into Claim Malcolm X Day. It's always like me pouring all the way in. Usually I'm fasting. This time I'm breaking the world record in push-ups. So like I'm always pouring my entire being into letting people know.
I love it.
This day, you know what I'm saying? Because if we got to start day by day, and if I had to change just one day, if there's one day that I set and define for us as Black people, let it be that day. Let it be that day when the Black God, Malcolm X, was born.
Yeah, I agree. And then the thing that struck out to me the most was that you said claim. We're not asking permission from the government. In all my life, that was the whole ideology of Malcolm. Because I think a lot of people don't understand at that time, it was the civil rights movement. We couldn't vote. It was all about, are we going to ask for permission? Or are we going to finally start our own culture, our own ways of life, define our own reality? And for us to say, they're not letting us have Malcolm X Day, it goes against the whole premise of what he taught. Like you said, we're doing this because we're not asking permission. We're not asking for freedom. We're taking it as he taught us. You feel what I'm saying? And I think that's the big part of what he pushed and what he taught and what he stood for that we forget. You know, sometimes we just want to make it cute. You know what I mean? Malcolm X, you know, and the white man, he's the scapegoat, but he talked a lot about self-sufficiency, self-accountability. You feel what I'm saying? Self-mastering, discipline to there's things I learned about Malcolm X that floored me. He read the whole dictionary and copied it word for word. He didn't eat but once a day. If a lot of us, if we did these things, 75% of our problems would be gone. That's high levels of discipline.
Right. And I'll say it like this. I say it like this, King L. I say it like this, brother. Malcolm X took the torch that the fictional, whatever you want to say about this Jesus Christ character, who said that you shall do greater works than me. You know what I'm saying? You look at what Malcolm did for Black people and just the example that he set, you know, and he was changing the culture in real time. As he was speaking, as he was doing his speeches, it reverberated across the Black world, and he was changing the culture in real time. He was changing the culture at the time of his being. He wasn't here with us long, and when he left, like wildfire. Now you have people that, you know, I'm inspired by Malcolm X. I have taken the torch from Malcolm X. I study him, and you know, I do my actions in his spirit. You know what I'm saying? And I do what he feel like I think he should have he would have done if he was in my footsteps, in my shoes. You know what I'm saying? And so I walked in Malcolm's thing. Not a lot of people know about this, but the original name of the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense was the Sons of Malcolm. And they want from him passing. So you see how he affects the culture in real time. There is no other being that has that capacity that could say that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
He was affecting the culture in real time. It didn't wait till after his death. But after he died, he affected the culture even more. You wouldn't have a Rizza Islam or 19 Keys if you didn't have a Malcolm X. So to claim Malcolm X Day and not ask permission, it's not illegal to take off the day of work. It's not illegal to take off the day of school, and it's not illegal to see reality as you see fit and define it as it is. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, I want to interject and say that beyond even the legality, not saying like you meant it literally like we're gonna get arrested, but even beyond the we got school today or we got work today, we see this in many cultures. America's a melting pot. We got to stop acting like, oh, the government this, the government that. There's people here who do Sabbath while everybody else is working on Saturday. They're taking off. You feel what I'm saying? There's people here that do Juma. Friday's a busy day, but Juma gets done. There's Muslims here that pray 5 times a day. The truth is that we are going into that realm that he warned us about. Mm-hmm. You feel what I'm saying? When he said, giving our children to them is the worst mistake we could happen. Because one of the main things that Elijah and him went through when they were together still was about teaching people to teach their own children. They were getting arrested back to back for not having kids in public school. And this was so funny about that. I want people to understand. This was at a time when we weren't allowed to go to school with them. So while everybody sits here and thinks of this as normal, just 50 years ago, we weren't allowed in their schools. And when they were saying, hey, you know what? We're going to let you come in our schools. We got some shit we want to teach y'all because y'all run around rioting too much. Y'all run around with this Muslim information learning too much. So once y'all come up in these schools, this brother right here stood in front of everybody and said, no. You know, I dare say he's a prophet level. He foresaw all this crazy shit that they was going to be teaching us and doing in even the prison industrial complex. People forget he was one of the first people in it.
Yes.
You know, so it's like when I look at it from that perspective, you know, he basically saw what was coming in that aspect, you know. Mm-hmm. You know, because why would he? You gotta look at it like this. There was a time where the people that he spoke so much about that he called devils. At this time, I think a lot of people think, oh, you know, they were just mean. No, people need to understand. Let me put us on the camera for this. They used to tie us up on trees. This is not back in like a slavery time. No, y'all. Let me break this down for y'all. This is why we argue so much about this slavery happened on this channel. At that time, y'all talking about the antebellum period, the slavery period. There was lynchings, yeah. But do y'all understand when that era was over, when they couldn't just outright own you, they was lynching even more. There was way more lynchings when they were coming into neighborhoods and burning down towns in Rosewood and Tulsa and all those type of, you know what I'm saying? In that era, in the 1900s, when they had human zoos and lynching all over the place and Jim Crow, this was them attempting to make us inferior. And he was making sure that we didn't forget he was attempting to. He made sure that we still got pride today. If it wasn't for him, there'd be no black pride. We was walking around calling ourselves Negroes then and colored and all that. We wasn't even saying black. You feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, you know, I think it's righteous to call him Malcolm X, the black God, because this is one of the first dudes to stand up and talk that type of talk. You know what I mean? Now, I ain't gonna say it wasn't around with Elijah and all of them, but people gotta understand, for all of those that want to come and say, oh, he was NOI and it was them and want to argue, understand, he built over 40 temples while alive. Mm-hmm. He started a lot of that FOI regime and culture they have over there, right? The 5% Nation of Gods and Earths. Which temple did Father Allah Clarence 38 come from? Under Malcolm. Right. You understand what I'm saying? So anything dealing with that version of Islam, that world, they gotta, unless they got some type of personal vendetta, they have to give him his flowers. Period. Mm-hmm. You know. So let me read this. Malcolm X. For those that just tuning in, maybe want a little was to put in perspective. Let's get it for you. Malcolm X, born to Malcolm Little. Later, El Hajj Malik El Shabazz. He was born May 19, 1925. He was returned to the Essence February 21st, 1965. He was an American Muslim minister and human rights activist who was a prominent. Now, I want y'all to note that it didn't say civil rights activist, human rights activist. And he made sure that before he got up out of here, he let us know the difference. Okay. Human rights activist who was a prominent figure during the civil rights movement. A spokesman for the Nation of Islam until 1964, he was a vocal advocate for Black empowerment and the promotion of Islam within the Black community. A posthumous autobiography on which he collaborated with Alex Haley was published 1965. Now, how you feel about that autobiography? You know, I'm not gonna lie to you. I heard a lot of crazy stuff later on when I got in the conscious community, like Alex Haley was a plant and all this and that. But I will say this to anybody. That book I've watched transform people in front of my eyes over and over, better than the Bible. Right.
That's exactly what Malcolm was. He was a transformative figure. His life was transformation. He went from being Detroit Red, street pimp, hustler. You know, he may even have bodies from back then. But he went and he became Malcolm X. And that transformation is phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? And that sort of transformation is the transformation of comic books. That's like Superman. That's like Clark Kent turned into Superman. You know, his words were that dynamic to a superpower. His words were a literal superpower in real time. Not everybody is just going to be up. Not every, street pimp you could put a microphone after they change their religion or whatever, and they're just going to be able to give these words that change people in real time. He literally converted champion fighters like Muhammad Ali, who was the most famous, still is the most famous person of all time. And he converted him to Nation of Islam. You know what I'm saying? And Nation of Islam, how I see it, is nothing but Black supremacy filtered into the religion of Islam and given that sort of filter, but it's Black supremacy. It's Black people becoming their highest self, becoming their most godlike self. And when you embrace that in its totality and what that truly means, that's the most powerful thing that you could ever do. That's the most powerful thing that you could do, is realize your untapped potential. So Malcolm was doing that in real time. He's doing that right now. Somebody is watching something on YouTube.
For sure.
There's about Malcolm, and they're going, you know what? Let me do that by any means necessary. By any means necessary. That
X is the future.
Phrase, you know what I'm saying? Look how much that phrase changed. Like that phrase, like that's why I pour everything into Claim Malcolm X Day. Because even if I'm feeling bad, something happened, I'm like, you know what? I don't care. People have to know about Malcolm X Day. I pour everything, my whole being into it by any means necessary. You know what I'm saying? I'll make it happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, no matter what, I got to be on the phone all day. I gotta, you know what I'm saying? I gotta make it happen. I'm making it happen for Malcolm in his way by any means necessary.
I'm so glad you said that, man, because that's everything with him. And what's crazy is if no one took anything from him, if you're a motherfucker that don't read, it'd be like, I don't care about that black shit. Even those types understand that Malcolm stood for endurance, perseverance, and getting things done by any means necessary. I would say that's one of his biggest quotes. I know earlier in hip hop, that was like the most quoted, by any means necessary, by any means necessary. You always see that picture of him standing there with the gun. Yeah. By the window. Yeah. So I actually came across that and realized that this was such a big thing. X is the future so much that you still see this today, y'all. Check this out. So there was a lot of controversy with Nicki Minaj about this, right? because she used the N word. But the point I'm showing is for us to show that even in the late 2000s, a female blonde haired rapper who he who Malcolm X probably be like, who are you? You gotta go to, like, even they are using not only his image but his message,
right?
Because that stood for what you just said, black supremacy. And if they use the white supremacy to damage us, to break us down, and to get us in this mess, the reverse of it, black supremacy, is the only way out.
Well, look, can I say this? Again, I say this, Father L, real quick. Let me just say this. Black supremacy is not so-called white supremacy and blackface. Black supremacy is us becoming our higher selves, becoming the most on our potential, going beyond our full potential, and us tapping into the nothingness, which is the everything at the same time. So you tap into nothingness, to everything, because before there was anything, there was darkness, there was black, you know what I'm saying? And so that's the essence that we come from, and that's the essence that we shall return. So to tap into that, to your limitless potential, because a lot of people claim they're light workers and they're working with other people's light. See, black supremacy is like a blank canvas where you become your own light, because when you sit in that darkness, you start being able to see in the darkness. So that's us creating that. So black supremacy is us becoming our higher selves in a nutshell. White supremacy is just glorified racism and systems that use this glorified racism to validate a fake social structure. You know what I'm saying? So that's the difference between black supremacy and white supremacy. White supremacy is not real. It is a fake social construct. It is glorified racism. And black supremacy is the most real thing on the planet in this universe, because there's no matter what, it's blackness. And we always compared ourselves to the space and the sky and the cosmos and the darkness. You know what I'm saying? So that's that. No matter what, you can't deny when you turn off those lights what it is. You feel me? So by any means necessary.
No, exactly. And you see this tattoo, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm telling you,
that goes hard right there.
He's so much in the culture, right? I just found this just to show for an example. I could remember watching dudes getting Malcolm X tattoos every day in prison. Like it would be like even if you're the dirtiest scoundrel. That's why I say when you say he's like Jesus, for like, you're right. Even if you're the dirtiest scoundrel, it's like he represents that perseverance, that getting it done by any means necessary, that positivity. And they'll get him. I've seen dudes who don't know nothing about him. I seen one dude get the tattoo. Somebody else come and say, "Oh, you read the book?" No. Oh, negative. You ain't read the book. Everybody else come over. He ain't read the book. What? Ooh, this is ghetto dudes that probably don't even read like that. You feel what I'm saying? So he's really a big deal, where I'm from. And I don't just mean like the area I'm from in Los Angeles on the west side. I mean like the world I'm from, the lifestyle, even the unfortunate behalf, like, you know what I mean? But I want to go a little deeper.
Both sides. He represents the street side and he represents the intellectual side. You know what I'm saying? So he does that both at the same time. So anybody on any walk of life can get something from Malcolm. You know what I'm saying? The most intellectual of intellectuals, quote Malcolm, and the most street. You know what I'm saying? I know we're gonna talk about Nipsey, but he represented an element, the gang side, the street tribe side, you feel me? And he was representing Malcolm, you feel me? So he represented a true God, because as a God, you got to be able to balance differences, polarity.
Thank you. You have to be able to protect.
Sometimes people say, "Oh, that's a contradiction." No, it is. It is just polarity. You know what I'm saying? It's just balance. You know what I'm saying? It's not contradicting. Just because Malcolm X at one time was Detroit Red, nothing contradicted his going from Detroit Red to Malcolm X. You know what I'm saying? He was able to balance the polarities and be able to emerge as that, and that's what it takes as a God. People, as someone that says I am God and declares that, stands on that, a lot of people are going to say different things to try to kind of contradict you. Why are you standing here? You're God. Why are you doing this? And you're God. Blah, blah, blah. But you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, when you make that proclamation and when you become that, when you embody that, there's going to be a dichotomy. You know what I'm saying? You have different things going on. It's not contradictory. It's you on the path of godhood. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Straight up. And then also, I want to say this is that this goes back to when you said he's the closest thing to a real Jesus for us, because their whole concept is to, you know, a lot of people, when you're dealing with religion and Christianity and all that stuff, a lot of people take bits and pieces. You know, there's not a lot of people, well, not here in North America, that are just well studied, and when you know what I mean, they kind of take the mainstream popular version. So there's a version of Jesus we're taught here in North America where he's docile, he's nice, he's passive, and what has happened is this has permeated the people's brain to believe that that's what spirituality is: being passive, being nice, being giving. And what happens is, if you're not that way, it's, oh, that's not God, that's not spiritual. But the truth is, if we take out the whole spooky concept, power in itself, there is no form of power that's not protected. There is no powerful animal that Allah did not give the power to protect itself. You feel what I'm saying? There is nothing that people bow down to that they see as weak and submissive. They bow down to it because they see it as strong, if not even a little fearful. You know what I mean? As 50 Cent said, respect comes from admiration and fear. You know? So he just representing the truth, you know? But I want to say this, though, to everybody that's watching, looking. We're going to give y'all 30 seconds. Who was the, what word do I want to use? Who was the, what word do I want to use? Who was the other guy? You know what I'm saying? Like, we had Malcolm X, and then y'all had, like, they tried to make the Malcolm X movement, and he got assassinated before this other guy. They tried to make the Malcolm X movement like a comic book story with a villain and a good guy and a bad guy. There was somebody that the government propped up as the king of civil rights and the king of the black people, and he was their Jesus. My dad was just talking to me yesterday. He said, this dude's the Jesus. So who is the supposed black Jesus figure, Messiah, who got his own day and all that? Who is the one that the government wants us to believe is this person? I know y'all know. I gave the best hint I could give. I'm gonna give y'all 30 seconds. Peace of the divine family, and as I thought, and as everyone else probably was listening understood, MLK. Shout out to Michael Pasio, Martin Luther King. That's right. Gwendolyn Wee. MLK. Yeah, come on, y'all already know what's going on. Booyah. Dr. Martin Luther King. Okay. And I want y'all to know, Malcolm was pushing the same thing the nation was talking about, building our own, not segregation, as a lot of people want to charge them with. Separation. Segregate means that somebody stronger than you and in control of you has placed you over here. It's a form of oppression. Separate means you have autonomy, you have control of yourself, and you have chosen to put yourself not over there, but over here, away from them. Okay. Integration is saying they're over here, they're up and running, and you're knocking on their door begging, saying, why I can't get a holiday? Why I can't sit the seat with you? Why I can't drink water with you? Why I can't come to your school and learn with you? We were against that at the time. Why I can't vote? Why you won't let me? So we wanted to be in the white man's house. And guess what? Martin Luther King said before he passed, I fear I am integrating my people into a burning house.
Yes. Yes.
I want the people to know that. Even he agreed with ML, even he agreed with Malcolm X before he went.
Mm-hmm.
that this was a burning house.
And we're living in Martin Luther King's burning house right now. We are actually in Martin Luther King's burning house. Like
Yes.
literally. Like that. He was so prophetic with his thing, and he definitely saw it. He saw it. This is exactly, we are living in Martin Luther King's burning house. So the solution is the Malcolm extinguisher. The
Yes.
extinguisher. You know what I'm saying? The extinguisher. We need to get out of this burning house, or you could burn and go with it. Like you see what's happening right now. Go with this narrative of I am this, I'm a dog, I'm this identity insanity where people will literally shoot you for going into a bathroom. You know what I'm saying? This is where this is what the world is. This is what the place is. You're going to a public place right now, and you're liable to be shot for actually going into a bathroom. This sort of craziness that's happening. That's insanity, this identity insanity. So we can go and just keep going along with that narrative and go straight into, we already know where it's going.
Mm-hmm.
Or we can use the extinguisher, Malcolm X philosophy, and separate and become the best version of ourselves. The word I was looking for earlier was paradox. We had to be able to balance that paradox as gods. You know what I'm saying? Because people think, being one, you could literally be one thing and be another thing simultaneously, and that's what Malcolm was. And look how great he was for the culture. X-Men was created in 1963. During that time when Malcolm was speaking, X-Men is a straight. They took it from the civil rights movement. They took because of the Malcolm and Martin approach. So they saw these two different approaches, and that's how was that he was changing culture in real time. That's what I'm saying. Who else has that in their repertoire?
And to cut
you
you
can't
off,
put that on your.
And to cut you off real quick, so you're saying, because I remember when we talked on the phone, you said in X-Men they flopped it. So Professor X is supposed to be like King, and then Magneto is supposed to be like Malcolm X.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was inspired by the civil rights movement in real time. So this is, it wouldn't be, if it was just Martin, that wouldn't even be a thing. There would be no X-Men. X-Men. There would be no X-Men without Malcolm X, because he inspired the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? So this is it's like a snowball, that has not stopped rolling. That energy that he put out, So that energy that he put out, no one can stop that, because it's like once you hear it, it's like when you hear black supremacy or hear these certain things. I know with me, when I heard black supremacy, it automatically woke me up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like it automatically took me to another level. I was already, all consciousness. And when I heard that, it automatically woke up. For some people, it was Black Lives Matters. And they were like, oh, really? Da, da, da. And it took their level to a consciousness, NOI, you know what I'm saying? Like there's certain things, certain people that automatically, it's like once you feel their presence, it's automatically going to change you. And that's what Martin is. Like you hear that, it automatically changes you by any means necessary. It's like you have a choice to just act like that's not happening or change. You know what I'm saying? So by any means necessary. What are you going to do about it? You know what I'm saying? That's like you have a choice to bow down to that or a choice to change. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it changes you. It changes you. Like, and that's what that's what Malcolm did. Malcolm changed the culture in real time. He literally evolved the culture. And no one could say that they literally were a catalyst in the culture. You know what I'm saying? Like the missing link to where that past Malcolm, how we think of the civil rights movement and peaceful protest and people getting bit by dogs and he's that missing link that made it by any means necessary to where we can stand on that, and where we could have a mindset to embrace our full totality. Because really, no one should be able to even say anything about Black people. If you're not Black, you shouldn't be able to say anything about Black people. Black people will evolve to that point where, you know, it's just like how the Jewish culture is. You say something about Jews, hey, you know what I'm saying, like that, and it's going to be that way for Black people. But for that mentality to even be present, to evolve to that, because that's the future. The future is X. So for us to evolve to that, Malcolm X was that catalyst that sparked the missing link, so to speak, in the evolving of Black consciousness.
I would fully agree, and especially based on the fact that hold on, let me based on the fact that I want to, you know, I'm in the etymology, you know, that people were not using the word Black. They may have used it, but we were calling ourselves, forget what they called. We were calling ourselves Negro and colored. You say, I'm a proud Negro. I'm proud. I'm a colored brother. I'm a colored. Right. There was a colored king in Africa. People talked like that. And I think a lot of people take that and kind of like, now that it's over, oh, you know, that's a big thing, because what you call yourself is how you see yourself. And for a long time, to be proud of being Black, no, it wasn't until Malcolm X and them got up there and gave the science of what you're talking about, the Black supremacy, that the darkness before light was even born was the darkness. You feel what I'm saying? That the original mind, original self was already in that darkness, and that the darkness is the supremacy that everything comes from. You know what I mean? Even when you're dealing with the color spectrum. That didn't come about. You even see Muhammad Ali, as he's going around talking to the colleges, spewing the knowledge that's given to him by Malcolm X and Elijah. You feel what I'm saying? So this whole Black thing and being I'm Black and I'm proud, and you know, and that's new. People don't know that's 50 years in the making from X, because X is the future, like you said. And what did Blackness become to mean? Exactly. When I was growing up, before they made YouTube, where you could just get up here and I'm a Black Power now, I'm 19 keys, I'm whatever. If you even spoke deep and had glasses on, you were called Malcolm X. Right. In the Black community.
Muslim. He defined that whole look for even the Black Muslims, because it was in South Carolina, where I'm from, if you literally are reading a book with glasses on, people are going to ask you, are you Muslim? Literally.
Oh, wow.
If you pick up a book as a Black person with glasses on, they're going to assume that you're a Muslim if you don't say. Okay. Every time I got asked, am I a Muslim, just because I'm reading a book. Literally.
Yeah. I'll go a step further, but in the media, right? That's in the culture. You're right. I've got that before too. Like, oh, you must be Muslim or something. But I'm saying in the media, you know how you have like, hey, I'm gonna take it there, brother. Jesus. There's really a lot of niggas complain, but the truth is there is no set image of Jesus. It's a thing about some hair. That's really it. You can take a yellow dude and give him some flowing hair and put him there with a beard and say, Jesus. You do the white dude, the blind. So what happened is this. That existed for Malcolm X, and I'll prove it right now. I ain't even gonna argue. Nobody ain't gonna say it. I'm gonna show y'all some shit. Fuck y'all up. That's all it took. Come on. A fucking top hat and some glasses, and you're Malcolm X. That's it.
And you know what? That was my look just before I did this, before I became the prophet. So
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I got the free for it, but that was my look every single day. That's how much he inspired me. I would go and look like this every single day. Tie, fedora, glasses, every single day. And I wasn't even eating at the time. I was so inspired by Malcolm X. You know what I'm saying? When Trayvon Martin got and during that whole case, I took it upon myself to go on a worldwide hunger strike for Trayvon Martin. Of course, I had a couple listeners at the time, but I went to the extent where I didn't eat for 801 days. I didn't eat no solid food.
Wow.
So I'm dressed in a fedora, glasses, tie, every single day, skinny as hell. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, I took it to that extent because I'm like, by any means necessary. You know what I'm saying? So I took it to a metaphysical extent and was using my, you know, my being as a representation. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Ti already knows when you put that glasses on, when you put that fedora on,
with that tie.
hey, with the thing, you already know what it is. You already know, you know who what he's trying to say. Already.
I just found it interesting that this is a world-renowned magazine, and they knew all he needs is the fedora, the glasses, and the tie, and that's Malcolm X. You get They get paid for this. So they have to do it right. They said that's Malcolm. As far as they're concerned, that's Malcolm X look.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know. Now I know me personally, when I was in prison, right? And if you come out, like you said, with the book and the glasses, you know, even if it's negative, they'll still say Malcolm X. Oh, you trying to be on this Malcolm X shit? Like they don't even have no one else to say. Like that's the name that's gonna stick, and everyone's gonna know what you're talking about, and everyone's gonna, you know what I mean? As far as consciousness is concerned, it's like I said, like I akin it to saying Jesus or Muhammad. You know what I'm saying? And I would say not even Muhammad, because peace and blessings upon him, he has no image with him. So I would say Jesus, Buddha. You feel what I'm saying? Malcolm X is up there with them already. You know?
Right. Because even I'm glad that you said the thing about the hair with Jesus, because think about it. When they try to even put this black Jesus, he has the long locks. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's all the same thing. You got the white boy dirty.
Yeah.
On the other side of the color spectrum, you have black Jesus with the long locks, and it's just like, okay, this is the same thing. But Malcolm, right? He has that. What your point is he has that same thing where you could just do that and do that. You already know what it is. You know what I'm saying? White, pink pell mells. I don't call them white, but pell mells grow their hair out because they know it's going to evoke that Jesus thing. They know they could go to Africa and get bowed down to. You know what I'm saying? In Uganda, you know what I'm saying? So you already know what these glasses and what that fedora and what that means. You know what I'm saying? I'll say it like this. Let me just say this one thing. But you know when you have those things that say neighborhood watch.
Yeah. Yep.
Who is that person there? Who is that person there? I'll even say I'll dare to say that's damn Malcolm X. Neighborhood watch, fedora. You know what I'm saying? Like who what, you know what I'm saying? Like what is that?
And the cold part is that I want to point this out. That only exists because of that. You have to be very popular and very into everyone's mind already for us to even pull that off. So I dare say that they're trying now. That's why I said in the beginning, like, you know, they don't talk about him as much. They don't show his image as much, because the thing now is to make him not the face of, you know what I mean, masculinity, black power, having knowledge, anything positive. They don't want him to be the face of that, so a bunch of people go and try to be the Messiah again. And his point was, of course they don't want that. So what? Just like he said, by any means necessary. For those that don't understand what that means, maybe that's a little, you know, fancy for you. What he meant was, no, it's quoted right here, nobody can give you freedom. And we're not just talking about chains and slaves and all that, y'all. We're talking about the freedom to think how you want, the freedom to speak how you want, to be articulate, the freedom to be healthy and make a choice how you want to live. Because a lot of us are addicted to a lot of these foods and different things, addicted to drugs. The freedom to break free and be the highest of self. Nobody can give you equality or justice or anything. If you're a man, you take it. Come on. Indeed. He represented that. You know what I mean? I've watched many of his speeches and watched a lot of his stuff where he talks about that masculinity and manliness. They don't ask for respect. They don't ask to be treated right. They don't ask for a home. They go and build their own. They go and make their own. They go and take it if they have to. You know what I mean? So what I wanted to show everybody was, this is so important because this is what we are doing. This is what you've been doing for the last 8 years already. But the government put its money and rolled its dice and stamped MLK. You feel me? So I want to show the world this. This goes back to the 1960 campaign. By the late 1960s, Senator John F. Kennedy and his campaign team were eager to find a way to pull ahead in the final days of the presidential race. On October 19th, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., along with students, was protesting local segregation ordinances in Georgia and was sent to jail for trespassing. King was sentenced to 6 months of hard labor for violating his probation on a previous misdemeanor. So he was on probation, y'all. So don't get it twisted. Even MLK. You know what I'm saying? After hearing of King's sentence, Senator Kennedy and his brother Robert called Georgia Governor Ernest Vanderveer and petitioned King's release. Senator Kennedy called Coretta Scott King, MLK's wife, to offer his help. Meanwhile, Robert Kennedy called the judge and was able to convince him to release King. The Kennedys' role in King's release quickly spread in the black community. Senator John F. Kennedy won 70% of the black vote in November. The black vote was key in Kennedy's victory. So they used this for not only black vote, but black cooperation. Because I think a lot of us don't know, because they rewrite the history, that throughout the 50s and the 60s, the quote-unquote black community was not as docile as they want you to see in the videos. There was a lot of riots. There was a lot of return fire. There was a lot of those black power groups that were popping up that ended up being gangs later. They were already fighting the white.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
I say it like this because and that's another thing they do in real. This is another thing that Pink Power does in real time. I say Pink Power, I don't say white supremacy.
Yeah.
This is what Pink Power does in real time. They try to erase history in real time. Like they will, like if you see like even some of the stuff that I've done, I've seen it in my whole thing. I've seen them take off whole platforms just because I got my mixtape on there. Them, you know what I'm saying? Them, they totally scrubbed and canceled the first installment of Two Raw for TV from 2010 to 2015. You know what I'm saying? Like they canceled that, try to scrub it, try to erase it from the memory. They will even try to put replacements there. This is what they do. I've seen this in real time, not only with me, but other powerful voices that are out there. They'll take and try to replace it in real time. You know that hella black, hella proud. Big time shout out to the brother that was doing that does that. I'm shout out to you, brother. But because he's one of the main people for Claim Malcolm X Day in Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? The brother that does hella black, hella proud. But his brand, Kmart took that and they started trying to sell hella black, hella proud shirts.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, they will and they didn't need any money from it. It's because it's an attempt to erase history in real time. Is an attempt to erase history in real time. So, you know, that's the same thing they're doing with Malcolm. Oh, during that time, during the civil rights movement, my thing was this: that people were so militant. I know the you know, some of the OGs from that time, people, they were robbing banks. They don't talk about robbing all of these banks and stuff like that, and
financial institutions,
like that. You know what I'm saying? People don't.
They were even after, in the spirit of Malcolm, because remember how you said the Black Panthers called themselves Sons of Malcolm. The Panthers were not only hitting the banks; they were taking planes. They don't talk about this at all. They used to go on a plane, kidnap it, and they've done this more than once. And they'll fly to Africa, fly to Cuba. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't want us to feel any type of supremacy. That's what I learned. You know what I mean? They'll lie and they'll make themselves sound bad just to make sure the story doesn't show us winning or being supreme. Like, because once you got that in your head that you can't win, you've never won, you've always been docile, you've always been the number two, you're going to accept it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And let me say this, I slipped on the name, but big time shout out to Ron Green, who created Hella Black, Hella Proud, who is one of the main people with Claim Malcolm X Day in Philadelphia. But they took Kmart took that hella black, hella proud, and try to sell it and say it was Kmart's. So they would do that in real time. They will erase history in real time. So it's up to us to create our own story and do it like that. I'll just say it like this: even the word woke, we coined the phrase, we coined and popularized the word woke on Too Raw for TV. Now, what is woke? Woke is like they take the radical right took that and created this whole thing. Now all of this none of this stuff that's supposed to be woke, all this transgender rights and all this other weird stuff that they put out there. Now they say that's woke. I'm like, we created this word. They always say black is created from black activists. No, we created it on my platform.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Ridiculous.
My co-host is the one that first wrote that word in the Urban Dictionary. Before that, there is no written definition of the word woke. She wrote Lola K, big time shout out to Lola K. She is the one that put that in the Urban Dictionary because we were using it on the platform. So they will that's happened in real time from 2012, 13, 14 when when we were creating this word to right now. It's this other thing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, right now it's some way other things. It's like wake up to some crazy stuff.
Right, and they're like the woke mob, like that has nothing to do with
but to back up
nothing to do with black people.
But to back up what we're saying, because a lot of people could just say it feels good and they and them and they and him and us and them, and let's make sure we draw this line in the sand. Because I actually talk about this in some of my music and I'm talking about my book, and a lot of people think I'm going hard. A lot of people think I'm on some 5%er bias. Now I'm not. I'm gonna say this again. Now, in fact, we're gonna do another 30 seconds. I gotta ask him. Do y'all know who Martin Luther King worked for? There was a reason. See, before he passed away, he ended up agreeing with Malcolm X because he's not dumb. Like you see, it says he's on probation. See, it says he was getting attacked. That's all true. After a while, he woke up to what Malcolm was telling him. But do y'all know who he worked for before that? I already gave y'all the hint, but I'm gonna let y'all see if y'all figure it out. And for more, please visit cripjesus.com and please hit that like button, y'all, because we need to get this to the algorithm. Because hit that like button, share this, send this to if y'all never, I know y'all probably see videos here all the time. Send this to your cousin, your nephew, your auntie, your mama, your grandpa, anybody by any means necessary. We need them all to know that we are celebrating Malcolm X Day and we're not playing with it, okay? And now y'all got 30 seconds to tell me, because I ain't forget what I asked y'all. Who did Martin Luther King work for? All right, that part. 30 seconds starts now. Let me see what I got over here. Somebody said, hold on, let me not even play with it. Let me put this up to you. The cross-dresser, what was his name? He was over the police. Chiquita Hamilton. You talk about J. Edgar Hoover. I know exactly who you talk about. Yes.
FBI.
That's not correct, though, Chiquita. I love you, and I love your energy, and I mess with the Divine Family, but that's incorrect. The FBI was actually against him as well. J. Edgar Hoover was not feeling none of that. Okay. CIA. That's a deeper answer, because the CIA does not give up their identity. The CIA are spies. I need people to understand that. So when you're working for the CIA, you might not even know it. It's not something that's just like, hey, we're the CIA. We're here to hire you. It don't go like that. You know what I'm saying? I got some other weird answers, but let's just get to it. The Big Six. Martin Luther King was part of a group called the Big Six, and they worked for the Kennedy administration. About 2 months before the march, the Big Six, this is the big march y'all hear about, man. The what's that called? The March on Washington, they always show. He gives the big speech about I had a dream and everybody standing right there. Okay, so about 2 months before the march, the Big Six broadened their organizing coalition by bringing on board. So what I'm trying to show y'all by reading this is the Big Six had already existed. The Big Six were 6 Christian leaders chosen by the Kennedy administration to make black people more peaceful, make them stop thinking about rioting or attacking back or being supreme or being strong. They wanted to water us down, make us docile, and give us this burning house that we're in now. Well, that burning house was actually, the invitation into that burning house was given to us by the Big Six. Okay. And after being the Big Six, they turned into the Big Ten. Check this out. About 2 months before the march, the Big Six broadened their organizing coalition by bringing on board 4 white men who supported their efforts. Walter Reuther, president of the United Automobile Workers, Eugene Carson Blake, former president of the National Council of Churches, Matthew Amon, executive director of the National Catholic Conference for Interracial Justice, and Joachim Prinz, president of the American Jewish Congress. Together, the Big Six plus the 4 newcomers became known as the Big Ten. Come on, man. This is the brother Malcolm and the brother Martin Luther King together. Okay? So, for y'all that don't know, yeah, that was the media putting that together like that. That's not to say that they didn't disagree, but this was the media pointing them as like God and the devil, or the enemy and the good guy, the bad guy. It was never that. It was never that cut and dry, you know? So this is Martin Luther King talking before he died. I quoted this. He added, "Let us say boldly that if the violations of law by the Caucasian man in the slums over the years were calculated and compared with the law breaking of a few days of riots, the hardened criminal would be the Caucasian man. These are often difficult things to say, but I have come to see more and more that it is necessary to utter the truth in order to deal with the great problems that we face in our society." Did you repeat that? He said, I'm learning more and more that it's better to utter the truth. So he's basically saying before I wasn't uttering the truth. Yeah. I was doing what I felt needed to be done so we could all get along. You feel what I'm saying? As opposed to just saying the plain old truth, like Malcolm. You know?
Definitely.
Now, the reason why a lot of us don't understand this is because of the media. This is why Malcolm is such a prophet. He foresaw this. He said, the media is the most, this is back before, for y'all to understand, this is back when we didn't even have 13. Did we even have 13 channels yet? Back when I was growing up, we only had 13 channels. Okay. So this is before even that. They probably had 7 channels or some shit. You know what I mean? So the programming now is in outer space. But even back then, he foresaw it. And he said, the media is the most powerful entity on earth. They have the power to make the innocent guilty and make the guilty innocent. And that's power because they control the minds of the masses.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the media that still gets us to look at him as even the how we see him. Let me say that, because before he passed, he had such a big transformation, and he left his name for us to look at and study and follow. The El Hajj Malik El Shabazz. You feel me? So I just want to say that during this thing and put that out there for him. You feel what I'm saying? Because he had a big journey before he left, and he had a big mission before he left too, of where he was finna take it. And a lot of us don't know about that. And it has a lot to do with his name and that Hajj and what went on with him before he passed away. And before we reveal this to y'all, I just want to take a little small break and let y'all know this is what you call not the Bible, not no characters, not nobody floating in the sky. This right here is the revelations we was waiting for. It was written in the end that the sun will rise from the west. I am the sun, and this is the west. Crip Jesus. Yeah.
Dread the God, the God. Dread the God, the God. Dread the God, the God. Dread the God, the God.
Niggas ain't ready for revelations. This the Bible last few pages. This when God sit down with Satan. This the last secret of the Masons. This the moment Eve met the snake in. This the resurrection of your savior. This the last warning to the nations. Beware of the bombs they be detonating. I'm getting head smoking bomb while a nigga waiting for them to blow this bitch up and leave on the spaceship. I've been anxious, waiting and waiting for all of my killers that stuck on plantations. You call that shit prison, we call that shit slavery. You cannot confuse me, these devils can't break me down. Hold up, we do not want reparations. Tell them devils keep their pieces of paper. We want back the land, we want back our culture. We want them to get the fuck out of our faces. We want them to get the fuck out of our nation. Tired of catching these cases, the running, the chasing, the beating, the macing, the kicking, the tasing. The police say haters, even the black ones is racist. They wanna murder us all. That's cause they know we the guns. We in the sky with the stars. Alhamdulillah. They wanna murder us all. That's cause we young and we born. That's cause we shining so hard. Allahu Akbar. Cause we make the trap say amen. Man, look at all these black faces. You know we the lost tribe of Jacob. This ain't gospel, this ain't Kirk Franklin. It's the real nigga you been waiting. It's the moment Goliath for the David. This was written in the pyramid by the sages. Niggas ain't ready for reparations. There's someone in store. The white man flew out of space and he seen faces carved in the planets like Mars. The description of they face and lips was like ours. You know the black man is God. Arm, leg, arm, head spells Allah. Every time you see me make a wish, I'm a star. Yeah, that's a bar. They wanna murder us all. That's cause they know we the gods. We in the sky with the stars. Alhamdulillah. They wanna murder us all. That's cause we young and we born. That's cause we shining so hard. Allahu Akbar. Revelations, all shall be revealed. There is no beginning, there is no ending. This is just one part of it. They wanna murder us all. That's cause they know we the gods.
Crip
We in the
Jesus.
sky with the stars. Alhamdulillah. They wanna murder us all. That's cause we young and we born. That's cause we shining so hard. Allahu Akbar.
Malcolm X warned us about the media before he passed. But what he didn't tell us was that by any means necessary and by the power invested in him that he put out into the world so unselfishly, you probably see his life and say, oh man, that's sad compared to how we are. We want so much self-gratification so immediately all the time now. Who's ready to not eat all day and eat once a day? Who's ready to stop chasing booty all day? You know what I mean? Who's ready to really read nonstop? You know what I'm saying? Who's really ready to travel the world, but not travel the world, going on vacation, eating barbecue and hopping off in hotels, having sex, but talking to different dignitaries and leaders to figure out how to free your people. He doesn't care about them saying, oh, we're free now. He wants real autonomy of self. He wants to be able to be supreme and live like a free human being who can define their own reality, as the brother Paul Metto told us. Now, so what? What does that mean? How did he get here today? Well, the brother was so powerful in the community that they had to make a movie about him. And that movie changed a lot of things. Would you agree? Like that movie, like a lot changed after that movie, you know what I mean? And
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He was part of the culture a lot as far as hip hop. So I say with that movie and hip hop, when did that movie come out? The 80s, right? We look up the exact year.
No, it came out in the 90s. It came out in the early 90s. It didn't come out in the 80s. But
so
yeah,
that goes
I mean,
to prove the point that the Malcolm X was already big in hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
And that movie just kind of stamped it then.
Right. Actually, hip hop was the reason why that movie was created, because before the movie Malcolm X, people were coming with the X hats and all of that stuff like that, and I seen it, you know what I'm saying? Being someone that was a child in the 90s, I seen it with the X hats and all that stuff like that, the cross colors and all that stuff like that. This is prior to the movie. This is prior to Malcolm X, the movie. So when the movie came out, you know what I'm saying, that was just further stand. That's why they go so hard with the programming in hip hop now and rap right now, where they completely dumbed it down, completely made it this thing where pell mells can compete in it. See, pell mells couldn't compete in the hip hop at that time because it wasn't dumbed down. It was Malcolm, because of that power of Malcolm, that transformative power that, you have, Lord Jamar and all of these people like that are putting it out there.
Yeah.
They were, we cannot have this keep on happening, because you see what I'm saying? Like
I remember when they used to like quote Malcolm. They used to quote Malcolm a lot, like on the hip hop records. You would hear like his voice, and you would hear like, quotes from his speeches and stuff in the middle of hip hop records back then. Oh God.
Facts indeed.
Now check this out. Let's show and prove. You feel what I'm saying? So here goes Spike Lee, the director of the X movie. There goes one of the hats just to show y'all. They even had jerseys. Remember the X jerseys?
Right. Yeah. I grew up in that era, bro. Like, I seen the X caps and all that stuff like that, and the fascination with Malcolm X. That was even prior to the 90s. You know what I'm saying? So we had all this fascination. Everybody had to read the autobiography of Malcolm X. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had that. Then people started coming with the X caps. Then, Spike Lee was probably like, "Hey, what's going on? Let me make a movie." You know what I'm saying?
Well,
so,
I'll go back to what you said when you hit the nail on the head when you said it was because of hip hop. Because let's go back to the roots of hip hop. So you got New York in the 70s. You got the guys, remember, of Father Allah, which is he was a student of X. He had just got assassinated in 69, right? So all through the 70s, it was a big push of his followers to get this out there, to stand on the corner and say, "I'm God," and wear the jewelry and the gold, and say, "Hey, brother, you up on this and that." They talked a lot about X. They loved X, and when they would form them ciphers and rap to each other and say peace and all that, they would talk a lot about X. That was a big thing for them. So I want to show you something. A sister watching, she said something that was cold. She said, because she might be a little older than this. So she said, when I was growing up, no black families was talking about Malcolm X, and if they did, they were saying he was a bad guy. They always quoted Martin Luther King. So I dare say that that's how she grew up. There was a divide. I'm pretty sure there was a lot of parents around where she was at that were involved with different movements that did rock with the Malcolm X. It's just that wasn't the mainstream.
Yeah.
You feel me?
And I say it like this, no disrespect, but I would have hated to live back then. I loved the fact that like people were coming up and they were saying like, that was the thing. You know what I'm saying? And X, really, if you talk about the nation of gods and earths, that was one of the foundations of hip hop. So this is like a whole movement that was essentially inspired by Malcolm X. You know what I'm saying? With Clarence 13. You know what I'm saying? Like, you had that whole movement that was inspired by X, that came from a person that was studying under X. You know what I'm saying? And now this is the foundation of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And
you see right there, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan. So even because hip hop being the culture of our people, it spread to even other facets of the black community. You dig what I'm saying? He was the face. I mean, like you said, he was the guy for the black community. You feel me? Yeah. And so they are the FBI. They're one of their secret tenets, or their secret mission statement is to stop the rise of a black messiah. So the FBI, that's their secret, not so secret. I mean, J. Edgar Hoover said it right out of his mouth, but their unwritten mission statement is to stop the rise of a black messiah. You know what I'm saying? And they've been doing that. That's their main thing. That's their main thing. They were created for Marcus Garvey. You know what I'm saying? The FBI was created because Marcus Garvey existed. You know what I'm saying? And then that's 100% true. The FBI first black FBI agent, I think his name was James Wormley. He was actually hired to infiltrate Marcus Garvey. And to go to bring it all together, y'all. Malcolm X's parents were Garveyites. A lot of what he did, like how a lot of what we did is in the spirit of him. A lot of what he did was in the spirit of Garvey.
Yep. Exactly.
You feel what I'm saying? Now check this out. From the Divine Family. That's why I love the Divine Family, man. They're always building with us. Hoover was stated saying that they must stop the rise of a black messiah, and said that Malcolm X could have been that person and that they'd have an eye on MLK. Well, I know in COINTELPRO, that was, I believe, rule number 4 to stop the rise of a black messiah, which included MLK. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So now I want to ask y'all, who wins the Black Messiah contest, y'all? I know a lot of people still quote MLK and all that, but I feel like that's a generational thing, man. You know, but I'm gonna let y'all choose, man. I know y'all probably tired of this, but I'm gonna give y'all one more time for a 30-second run of who wins the Messiah contest between Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. And I said James Wormley about the first black FBI agent. His name is James Wormley Jones. Just in case anybody wanted to look it up, he had the Jones on it. Okay. Somebody said King Malcolm. Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay, all right. Somebody else said X. I'm gonna say you hit me, I hit your ass back, blah, blah, blah. Malcolm X. Check this out, y'all. Martin because of Christian meaning. Check this out, y'all. Forget what the meaning or the feeling is. Look at this. I've never seen anyone at all because hold on. No, we're gonna deal with you later. You said MLK was realer in the end. Malcolm became more loved than devil. No. Malcolm went to Mecca and said he learned that through Islam, he's seen people, pink people, who weren't acting how they acted over here based on the fact that they were under a different culture there. And that was really how they embraced and treated him. And to say he loved him and all that, that's cap. That's why I went back to this picture and showed what name he died with and how he went. But beyond all that, but before we get to an argument about what he stood for and how he felt and all that, we're talking about Jesus, right? 2,000 years ago, right? We don't know how he felt. We don't know what he said. But we know that people walk around with chains on, idolizing him, right? To where you don't even know if that looked like him or not. You just know you see a guy with some hair on the chain. You're like, whoa. Okay. So for our people, the only time that was done for our people, and everybody looked and said, whoa, and they understood the person that was on the chain and all that. Stop playing with us, man. When Nipsey Hussle put Malcolm X on the gold chain, that's in the Smithsonian, Paul. Nipsey Hussle's gold chains with the diamond encrusted Malcolm X pendant is currently on display at the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History in Washington, D.C. Long live Nip. Y'all show me something like that about Martin Luther King. Then we can have that. Then we can have that back and forth. Just show me one piece of culture like that. Not no statue that the white people made. Something like that, where dude just wore a shirt or a chain and everybody knew. Stop playing. See, this all boils down to, like how you said, making him the standard, because a man who stands for nothing will fall for anything. These two men, and remember, he taught Muhammad Ali.
Yes. Yep.
Come on. So what these men both did, they had their own popularity, their own world in their own right. But what it was about standing on what Elijah taught, standing on Islam, standing on what they believed in as man, standing on self-realization, self-discipline, self-mastery, accountability. You feel what I'm saying? Standing on perseverance and pride, standing on all these things, what they stood for. You know what I mean? They stood on family. You don't see videos of them smacking girls on butts in clubs and smoking and all that, but saying I'm a family man. They stood on what they represent. They stood on what they spoke on. You feel me? And I think that's what we need now. A lot of the examples for the youth aren't standing on anything. They come out and say one thing, come out and say another. They're about this, about that, about that, about this, nothing of substance, you know?
Right.
And that's really what we need now. You know, I feel like that's what Malcolm X Day is, not for just us, for the world, you know. And this is why I wanted to read. Somebody had put this earlier about his stand on human rights, right? Way earlier they put this. I was going to wait for now to show it. They stand on human rights because human, where is it at? Well, civil rights, what they said about civil rights movement, civil rights, right? Civil rights are from your government. Human rights are from God. You understand? And that was the big difference in what Malcolm was pushing. He said, y'all talking about some civil rights because y'all begging y'all government to treat you right. You want the civil rights. He's saying certain things are a disgrace in the eyes of God, period. What they're doing to us is a human rights problem. And that's why what a lot of people don't know why he really got assassinated is while he was overseas, he was linking up with a bunch of leaders to take the United States to court for human rights violations.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? And one of his main mentors is somebody who they actually murdered and assassinated a couple days after him. A man, Pio Gama Pinto.
Yeah.
When the African-American leader Malcolm X visited Kenya in 1959, he found he had a lot in common with Pinto. They planned a common strategy to deal with the daily humiliation and indignity suffered by both Africans and African-Americans. Malcolm X was assassinated on February 21st, 1965, 3 days before Pinto. Their murders are linked in that both were considered dangerous to vested interests. This is him, same mission, putting together the OAAU, Organization of African American Unity. This is him in, I believe, Sudan. Malcolm X confers with friend Ahmad S. Ahmad, 65, on the future of the Organization for African American Unity, or Afro-African Unity. Oh man, a personal friend of Malcolm X's, was instrumental in getting the ex-Black Muslim to visit the colleges. Come on now. And for y'all that don't know, this is the Big Six with Kennedy. I'm showing y'all to show y'all the difference. So while he was flying across the world to link up with the Africans, they want y'all to be docile and stay linked up with the Americans. See the difference here? This is why the word black is important. I know a lot of people want to bury the black and bury the African and say, I'm just Aboriginal and I'm a spaceship alien and I'm this and that. But when we get down to politics, who are we going to be in consolidation with? Who are we in solidarity with?
Right. You need black people. You need black people. We called ourselves black way prior to us being labeled as so-called black. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've always called ourselves black. I mean, hell, Kemet is literally called the land of the blacks. Osiris was the perfect black. If you look at the deities in India, there's numerous tributes to black in the language equivalent to whatever that was. You know, it was the same thing as what black is. So we've called ourselves black from time immemorial. A lot of people don't want to say black now because of different things. They say the Black's Law Dictionary, for God's sake, is the one that's saying don't say black because it's the legal thing. And whose law? Whose law? We are the ones that called ourselves black, and we've always called ourselves black. You know what I'm saying? So just on a level like that, you know what I mean when I say black. I don't have to give you a history lesson or anything like that when I say that. Is by that word being so powerful, another term that Malcolm X used, and another thing we had to get the language right. You know, just by that, I don't care if you want to further identify yourself. Yes, let's further identify ourselves with the original people here. Let's further identify ourselves, because as black people here in America, we are the amalgamy of all of these cultures. Out of many is one. Out of many, one. You know what I'm saying? Out of many nations, one. And that was a term that the Moors created. You know what I'm saying? That's on these coins and stuff like that. Out of many nations, one. You know what I'm saying? They were talking about black people here in America. We are literally the amalgamy of the Africans, the native black people, the Asiatic black people, all of these, we're the amalgamy of all of that. So, but you know what I mean when I say black. There's no second. Hold up. But what do you mean by that? You know exactly what I mean. And you know what I said when I mean when somebody is trying to portray like they're black, and you say, he don't look black. You know exactly what I mean. There's nothing that I have to come and say again so you could kind of understand it. And by that word being as powerful as it is, that's exactly why it is of the utmost importance that we utilize it for political reasoning as well. And I'll say this. I want to say two things. I want to say that Malcolm X has the ability to to transcend time, as far as he's able to be from the past. He's somebody that we're talking about him like he was here. You know what I'm saying? How long ago did he die? You know what I'm saying? So his ability to transcend past shows his godlike power. And I want to say this just as the recognized prophet of black supremacy. It is my duty to canonize in the mind of black people Malcolm X.
Yes.
As we talked about before, and I know I'm gonna give credit for you, Saint Malcolm X. On that level.
Oh yeah.
Saint Malcolm. He is canonized in the black culture. That defines. His spirit defines the revolutionary thing that will change everything. So me being the recognized prophet of black supremacy, I canonize Malcolm X as Saint Malcolm in black supremacy. That's who he is. You know what I'm saying? So that's if there's somebody that you want your child to look to, you don't feel like he has a father figure, don't see get him to steer him towards Malcolm X. You know what I'm saying?
No, 100%. And I want to say this because we're gonna wrap it up. It's been about an hour and a half, right? And I want you to I'm gonna put you on the spot right now. I want you to make sure we run this up for this week, man. I want you to come on my live, on my social media, all that. You got me inspired. That by it, when you told me by any means, remember yesterday you told me, nigga, I sent out 1,000 texts for this. I said, what? I didn't know who I was talking to. I said, this nigga serious. So I'm inspired. I'm ready to use any means necessary to get this out here. Yes, we're gonna start this off right now. I want y'all, everybody that's in here, to hit the like button right now. Not for me, not for Paul, for Malcolm. So this thing can go and float around, and more children, more women, more men will see this, and we can get this day cracking. And before we go, I want y'all to hit the 777